kinds of statements where you prompt us. Let me see if I
Wait a
can.
minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Okay. All right.
I didn't realize how young you are. And I'm not going to hold it against you because you know a lot. However, Martin Luther King Jr. was killed. Next year it'll be 50 years since his death.
And can we correct the record? Because I think we said 35 years. It has been 50 years.
It will be 50 years next year since Martin Luther King.
Hours after King's assassination, you started this work in your third grade
You were
classroom.
just a gleam in your father's eye at that time, okay?
No. When he was killed, Mama was 2 months pregnant. I was a Valentine's Day baby.
Oh, I see, okay.
I was born November 14th.
And a hearty welcome.
9 months earlier was February 14th.
Okay, all right. All right, okay. What's your question?
I know what happened on Valentine's night in 1968.
No.
I'm trying.
I tried to tell you. She's like, I got this. I'm like, yeah, okay, I've heard that before.
Yeah, but you're in a different context when you heard that. Go ahead.
So what I want to do is, he talked about the structures of racism. You have been doing this work for 50 years.
But he's been living this for 50 years.
He has been living this.
There's a big difference. I can talk about it because I don't have to live it. You have to live it. You need to understand that my heroes, and don't ever call me a heroine because that's not what I am. My heroes are black women. Black women keep on keeping on regardless of all the obstacles we put in their paths. And I don't just say this to you because you're a largely black audience. I say this to every audience that I talk to. You have to realize that you were here first and you will be here last. Because us white folks are going to go out in the sun and it's going to get worse and worse because... and we're going to die of melanoma. So you will be here long after we're gone. You are going to be the majority in this country very, very shortly. So get ready for it, because you're going to you think you've been abused before. Wait until you get the power, that you have the power to do what you choose to do. And that's the problem. White folks are scared to death that if people of color get power, they're going to want to do to us what we have done to them. Now, how many of you want to get even with all white folks? How many of you want to get even with one or two? Yeah. All we white folks have to do is work very, very hard to be sure that we aren't the one you want to get even with. What we do in the present constructs the future.
That's right.
Blacks are not responsible for the past. Whites are not responsible for the past. We are all responsible for what we do in the present to construct the future for our children and our grandchildren. And stop that. Stop it. We don't have time for that. You need to know that as far as I'm concerned, we're all related. We're 30th to 50th cousins, every person in this room. You are all related to me. Now, you might not like being related to me, but you are. You are my relatives, and I will not tolerate having my relatives abused because of somebody else's ignorance about skin color. And that's what we're talking about in this country.
Right. And let me and see again when these studies and things are released, we recite them on television, and again, many of my white colleagues don't even remotely think beyond just what it is. To give a perfect example, 2009, John Avalon and I were at CNN waiting to go on the air, and I said, John, we are right now in the beginning stages of what I call white minority resistance. I said, although the numbers don't show it, that's where we are. I said, the election of President Obama is about to reveal America's true feelings. Now, here's what the deal. People are saying, oh, but there are a lot of white folks who voted for Obama. Yes. But go behind the numbers. And so Pew does an annual survey, and the question is asked, are you optimistic about the future of America for your children? In 2009, African Americans had the highest optimism. Latinos were second. Every group, blacks, Hispanics, Asians, Native Americans, every group, more than the majority said yes. Only one group was less than the majority. In September, another study comes out. Are you optimistic about the future of America economically for the next 10 years? African Americans, lowest wealth, had the highest optimism at 58%. Latinos, second lowest wealth, second highest optimism. Whites in America, highest average wealth per family at $110,000. Only 41% said they were optimistic about the future of America for the next 10 years for their children. I then went, why? It is because we've changed so much that white ignorance or white privilege now means your boy can't tell his boss to hire my son or my daughter. Now, white kids in America have to compete. This is real. Why did, last name Fisher, I forgot her name, I'm trying to memorize it. Why did she sue the University of Texas? Did she come here? Yeah, she came here. So she sued, I'm sorry. She sued the University of Texas because she said, I couldn't get in because it was those minority students. That's why I couldn't get in. My grades were so superior, and I know their grades were lower. Well, then what happened? Went to the court system, go before the Supreme Court. Then the evidence comes out that there were white students who had lower grades than her, but they got in. And then it was like, damn, we can't blame on black people and Latino people. And it never occurred to her that you have to do more to get into school than just study. But in her whiteness, she said, oh, it's got to be them. It was a competition thing. So what's happening is you have white mothers and fathers who are now afraid to death because they have not raised their white children to know how to compete. They now are going up against post-civil rights movement babies who are now second-generation post-civil rights movement babies who coming out of the womb were raised, you're going to be twice as good, you're going to do whatever you need to do. Black women are going to college at a higher rate than anybody else. America kept throwing, to James' point, America kept throwing obstacles in black folks' way. They were like, okay, cool. All right, goal now is 14 feet. Okay, I'm going to go. Black folks said, I'm going to go practice. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to dunk this goddamn ball at 14 feet. And then they went and trained, came back, dunking at 14 feet. And it's like, oh, the new height is now 16 feet. Black folks like, all right, I'm going to go train. I'm going to dunk this goddamn ball at 16 feet. That has been the black experience. And so the reason that number is 41%, because it is white fear of the future. It's the ability to be able to get guaranteed jobs, get guaranteed loans. And that's why the election was what it was here in Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, because there is this fear. When you hear, I want the America, I read this story the other day, a guy in Erie, Pennsylvania, I want the America like it was for me when I got out of school and got a manufacturing job so my kids can get a job. Bruh, that world is gone. He wants 1972 America when we were only just 2 years removed from the civil rights movement. And that's the fear. And the people say, well, oh, no, I'm not racist. No, the point is, you grew up a certain way and you want that America, but you want to deny what that America was for people who look like me. And that's so this is not a 4-year struggle. What's going to happen in the 2020 election? No, what Jane said earlier, we are in a 30-year war, folks. 2044 will be the year when America changes when it comes to no one group. This is not going away. You're going to see this battle all across America because of fear. Fear of a changing nation.
But it doesn't have to be a battle.
Precisely.
If we would start educating people, and those of you who believe this crap of white superiority, you need to educate yourselves. For the love of heaven, Get the book, The Myth of Race by Robert Wald Sussman. If you haven't read that book, you don't understand that there really is only one race. We don't have to have this battle if we would simply realize that you and I are all members of the same race. There's only one. You're valuable human beings because you were born on the face of the earth. Skin color does not indicate intelligence or lack of it. You need to realize that. It doesn't indicate ability or disability. It is not, should not be a problem unless you're going to look at people who are less colorful and say to yourselves, well, you haven't been here long enough to know from a good grade of clay, because most white folks don't. We don't know because we have been, instead of being educated, we have been indoctrinated. And you're going to say, well, wait, white people are the only racist people. You know as well as I do that people of color are racist too, because you all took the same social studies. You all learned the same nonsense. You all know that if you're too dark, that's too bad, and if you're too light, that's too bad. There's no way you can win in a situation where we are judging people on the amount of melanin in their skin. It is ridiculous. It makes no sense. It needs to be stopped. You know it, and I know it, and even this man, who's a whole lot younger than I am, knows it. He can't help his age, folks. He'll get old if he's lucky. And if you're lucky, I won't get much older. But we could fix this if we chose to. If we chose to say, no more. We will not tolerate this anymore. No more. And the reason we have this number 45, who's really about 43 and a half, the only reason we have that man is because it's a reaction to 8 years of a black man in the White House. Now, I remember, if you'd stop doing that, I'd get more said here, okay? I remember when Ronald Reagan said, the reason we have such high unemployment in this country is because of all the women in the workforce. You don't remember that. I do. You aren't old enough to remember that. I am. I also remember when Richard Nixon said to a group of white reporters, I'm trying to save the White House for you white people. Now, people, this is nothing new. This is something that has been here. We have been teaching it for a whole lot of years. You need to realize that 500 years ago, all of a sudden, after the Spanish Inquisition, somebody listened to Linnaeus, who categorized plants according to their likenesses and differences, and said, if that'll work with plants, it'll work with people. It doesn't work with people. And it's time to put a stop to it. We could stop it if we chose to. This is nonsense. This is the mark of an uncivilized society. You need to become a civil society, people.
And it's vital that, again, when you understand